If you want to get started in real estate with a bang, you can do exactly what I did. This program still exists. With an FHA loan, you can buy a single-family home, duplex, triplex, or fourplex. A fourplex is the biggest property that you can do it with, so I really recommend that you do it with a fourplex for economies of scale. If you live in one unit for at least 12 months, if you can make a 3.5% down payment, and then the third thing you need is just a minimum credit score of 580. That's all you need? Yes, that's all you need.
There's many ways to invest. There's many ways to build wealth. For us, real estate was an obvious choice. For many, real estate, they're not even quite sure how to get started. So how did you get familiar with real estate? How did you get started? How did you decide that real estate was the wealth building vehicle for you?
Well, it's because of my friends. It really goes back to the old Jim Rohn quote, which you've almost certainly heard, but it's so prescient here. And that is, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Take your 5 closest friends, take their morals and values. They're probably pretty close to your morals and values. Take their formal educational attainment level. Take the way that they dress. Take the time that they go to bed at night. You know, if you average the 5, that's about how you are. If you want to change yourself, change your 5. Just a great quote from the legendary business philosopher Jim Rohn. But I had found that 2 of my 5 closest friends about 20 years ago, Flip and Danny, what they had done is they made their first ever home, first ever property of any kind, a fourplex building where they lived in one unit and rented out the other 3. So because this is 2 of my 5, it sort of took on this context of normalcy to me. It didn't seem scary. And I learned, and I did indeed follow through and make my first ever property of any kind a fourplex building, like Flip mentioned in the bio there, where I lived in one unit and rounded out the other 3. And this is something very actionable for you, the listener and viewer here. If you want to get started in real estate with a bang, you can do exactly what I did. This program still exists. With an FHA loan, you can buy a single-family home, duplex, triplex, or fourplex. A fourplex is the biggest property that you can do it with, so I really recommend that you do it with a fourplex for economies of scale. If you live in one unit for at least 12 months, if you can make a 3.5% down payment, I didn't have a lot of money. I was just a work-a-day job employee at a state DOT, but I think a lot of people can come up with a 3.5% down payment. And part of that, or all of it, might even be able to be a gift. And then the third thing you need, besides that 12-month owner occupancy period in one of the units and the 3.5% down payment, is just a minimum credit score of 580. That's all you need? Yes, that's all you need. Now, there are some things that you need to avoid and properties that you need to avoid, but that's how you can start with a bang, live in one unit, rent out the other 3, and get the appreciation and the tax benefits on an entire building. That's exactly how I began. You probably saw a picture of it. It was a $295,000 modest fourplex, and the rents in each door were $725. I can still remember that. That is a great actionable way for you to get started. And if you have Veterans Administration benefits, VA benefits, it's 0% down, a 12-month owner occupancy period, and your credit score doesn't even have to be that good. So that's how I began, and that's how you can still get started with a bang today with an FHA loan on a fourplex building.
I love that you just gave very actionable advice.
Yes.
Right? Because very many times we talk at such a high level that people aren't sure where to get started. So when I'm on the phone with investors, I get, where do I start? Which path is right for me? Who do I trust? And Keith here, as a guest on our show, just gave you one of the ways to get started, and a very actionable way if you want to do that fourplex. So just curious, Keith, when you got this fourplex, did you do the rehab or did you hire contractors?
I did it myself. I didn't know how to do it. I'm still not a good handyman by nature at all. People must think I'm a good handyman since I own all this real estate in multiple states, but I'm really not. I just know how to identify a good deal and then put the people in place in order to manage it. But yes, I did some of the rehab myself. Actually, one of my 2 friends that had also made their first ever property a fourplex building, I still remember he showed me how to remove the vinyl and replace it with hardwood plank flooring, knock out a pony wall and add this plank flooring. But like, that's the most sophisticated type of rehab that I've ever done. It is simple to figure out, but I really needed someone to come in the door and show me how to do it. So it actually didn't take too much rehab. It definitely wasn't any sort of BRRRR strategy or fix and flip. It was really a buy and hold property.
I love it. And so last question on this topic, because I love this part of getting to know you. Do you still own the Fourplex or did you sell it?
No, I sold that Fourplex after holding it for 11 years because I wanted to take the equity from it. The return from home equity or property equity is always zero. And by 2013, I was aware of that. So what I did is a 1031 tax deferred exchange from that Fourplex building into an 11plex building, adding little or none of my own money. I just extracted the equity from a smaller property because it had grown, and I used that as a 20% down payment on an 11plex.
Nice. I love it. What a great strategy. Thank you for sharing that story.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on the show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.